So do you think the security is a killer DApp, or what do you think is a killer DApp to move the market ahead?
So for blockchain, the first several killer app is related with um, money transfer. So like Bitcoin, it creates send coins or tokens to others without someone who has authority to say you can do this or you can't do this. So this is the first killer app and made Ethereum, Bitcoin very successful. For the second generation of blockchain technology, Ethereum, it gives a concept of smart contract so that everyone can write code in and install it to the chain and run it. And the code itself, since it's a fully replicated database across the globe, the code runs in one machine, and it will run in every machine and make sure the state are the same. So that release a lot of potential, like you can do certain games which existing systems you can never do that. You can track the asset, track the history of the asset. So that's also something that existing technology cannot easily do, and people cannot easily trust with that. But in future, the killer app for the blockchain technology is an app like an email system or a social network, which connects to most of the people, not just the geeks. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, their users are geeks. Are even for most developers, they don't or they can't really use the blockchain technology. But in future, I think since the blockchain bring the public verifiable and trust into into this world, so there will be a lot of applications which can make this world better. So I cannot say this app or that app will be the next killer app, but the coming killer app should involve most of the people into this world.
So you mentioned Ethereum and Bitcoin, and oftentimes I think people refer to them as Bitcoin 1.0 and 2.0. One of the questions I frequently get is, do you think Ethereum will succeed?
So Ethereum is more like a blockchain experiment platform. So it has a big step forward from Bitcoin, making the blockchain technology not only served for the cryptocurrency, but can serve for other purpose. However, from the beginning of Ethereum, the system is building on certain experiments carried out by VB, and since Ethereum goes this big, have so many users at the moment, a lot of things, even if they want to change, they can not really change. For example, the EVM, although it's much more flexible than Bitcoin, it still can only be used in very limited use cases. The performance, everybody talks about the performance of Ethereum. It's bad, especially if you consider it's a globally available application platform. If you just have this kind of performance, it cannot survive. And how to build applications, especially really useful applications like what we see in the existing internet world. I cannot see any application close enough to something like Eventbrite, Kayak, Facebook, or whatever. In Ethereum, what kind of app you can build is just gambling app, very simple demo applications, things like that. So if it cannot be really used by the majority of the internet users, then the chain won't be very successful.
So that leads me to my next question, and it's actually a great segue. So as a developer yourself, what are the success factors you would recommend for any aspiring developer or user who wants to create an app or service using the blockchain?
So we think one of the biggest use for blockchain technology is the payment, right? The good part of a blockchain technology, especially for ArcBlock's blockchain technology, is that it gives you a framework, general framework that have this payment system built in, so that you have previously, if you want to integrate a payment system, you need to trust a third party library or services. If you cannot trust them, you need to build a lot of things from scratch, and it's not easy. And it's if you want to build richer payments application, it's even harder. So for blockchain, the first and immediate use is the tokens or the money flow into the chain is guarded or secured by the cryptographic algorithms, so that you can transfer tokens or money to others easily. You can transfer assets, non-fungible tokens, to others easily. You can exchange tokens and assets. You can even do bidding. You can selling your own digital assets, and it also enabled the use cases like if a service provide a certain selling certain assets, and you bought the asset, and however the service itself didn't provide the second-hand asset exchange, you can easily build such kind of exchange and use it with others without any issue, because what you need to trust is not the application itself. The trust is built deeply rooted on the chain. So
okay. And so a couple of previous threads that I saw as far as your Telegram groups. One of the questions I had was, why is ArcBlock's approach to mining different? And do you think that's actually something that developers and services can get behind and get excited about with the ABT network?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in terms of mining, so previously for Ethereum or Bitcoin, the miners did a lot of work to make sure the entire chain is stable, and they also provide services to make sure if you are a user, you send a transaction, this transaction flew into the entire chain. So in terms of that, giving miners some rewards is makes a lot of sense. But in blockchain 3.0, more and more blockchain applications adopts proof of stake, and starting from there, when the chain start generating a new block, there's no computation involved. It's just stakes. People can stake tokens into a validator node, so that when that node generates new blocks, the stakeholders will get rewards. That makes sense to some extent, but it actually made people that just stake the tokens into the nodes, that not actually use the tokens. For us, tokens is just like money. If you just keep money in the bank, it is useless. The true value of money is that when you use it to buy something. So we inspire people to build apps, and by using those, by building good apps which can attract users, that user will pay tokens to that apps to keep that apps running. That make the tokens circulate from the entire ecosystem. It's much better than most of the tokens either sits in the exchange or sits in the validators just for gaining more tokens. So for us, if you want to be a validator, if you generate new blocks, you won't get reward, or you can only get very little reward. The benefit that being a validator is that you serve for the users. You put applications on top of it. People use your applications, and by using the applications, they consume tokens. By this, as participant of the entire ecosystem, you gain tokens, you gain money, you made your business. So I think this path is more healthy than the existing ones. We see a lot of drawbacks, issues in existing chains, which people just staking money there and waiting for a while that so that their tokens can be more and more, and but that makes the token lose its true value, lose its most of the use cases.
So it sounds like one of the things that we're kind of driving towards is there's a change in the market in terms of proof of work versus proof of stake, and I get a lot of questions around mass adoption for blockchain, and that there's a lot of hurdles in the industry. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, and especially as a non-developer, do you see a future where anyone can actually create their own blockchain?
Yes, and most of the time, any applications probably will be backed by one chain or many chains to support its use cases. So I think the blockchain technology, as it evolves for years, it should be attachable by most of the people, and people can use blockchain technology just like they use the web technology. Think about 10 years, 20 years ago, web technology is mysterious to most of the people. Even output HTML is very hard. if you want to generate dynamic content in a web page, it's it's like a magic. Yeah. So that's pretty much like the existing blockchain technology. I think as time went by, the technology should be more and more easy. It's easy to use, easy to deploy, easy to develop. On top of it, the concepts, the technology, the algorithm used behind the blockchain technology should be mostly hidden by the nice UIs and nice interfaces, so that when a user or a developer try to use it or develop new applications, what they see is just some APIs, some UIs, and they can build their own business logic on top of it. Yeah, so it should be easy. It should be like a small team, 1 or 2 people can build something like Instagram.
So I just recently saw a post from Robert Mao, the CEO of ArcBlock, talking about DID and self-sovereign identity, and that ArcBlock had actually joined the W3C group. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What role is DID playing in the ArcBlock ecosystem?
Yeah, so DID is a very, very important role in the entire ArcBlock ecosystem. So first of all, people, the internet users suffered from the centralized ID a lot. Like you can see all kinds of those big players. They either use your data to make money by selling or aggregating your data to the advertisers, or as their system is not secure enough, your information is leaked to the hackers. So DID means you have full control of your own profiles, and you can you can just give your DID to the apps or the people you trust, and each time you can give them different profile, different DID, so that it maximally protect your privacy. So in ArcBlock, when we build the blockchain technology, we bear the DID in mind. When we build our wallet, the DID is a built-in features, as well as our chain. So consider that a user when use ArcBlock wallet want to access an application. Instead of existing approach that when you try to access, say Yelp, Yelp ask Facebook to give asks you to log into Facebook to authorize Yelp to use your profile. For ArcBlock wallet, the wallet will exchange information with the application to get what kind of information application wants to have, and user can select if which kind of information it want to provide to the application. So each application won't own the origin information of user's profile. The user's wallet or user itself owns that, and user can easily terminate the authorization to for that application easily. And most of those information are stored locally. Some of those information will put into the chain, and you can also have you can also revoke data if it sits in the chain by using a revoked list. So we built this entire technology to make sure people's privacy is protected, and while at the same time the usability is still maintained. So you won't feel like because I'm using DID, it's very hard to use. It's broke most of my existing approaches. So it will be very easily to be used.
So ArcBlock, so the project started about a little more than a year ago, and I've seen a lot of questions kind of about the current state of the ArcBlock project, and I wanted to ask you, why is the time right now for ArcBlock to start releasing their products and not 6 months ago?
So at the very beginning, we are building the foundations for our technologies. For example, by implementing the OpenChain Access Protocol, we dig very deep into Ethereum and Bitcoin and gain a lot of knowledge and experience on handling those chains. And by building our cloud infrastructure, all kinds of the fundamental software, we gain the capability to really make our own chain safe, scalable, and we did a lot of work for building those fundamental things. We have already built a lot of applications. We just haven't released them. So we decided unless an application is mature enough, that have two meanings. One, technology wise, it's mature enough, and second is the market wise, it's mature enough. Then we will release the product. Last year, we actually made OCAP available, the entire ArcBlock console available. We have internally we have token flow. We built several round of. We have an app which helps users to track their token assets, which we built 2-3 months ago, and it is right now used internally. So we have a lot of such kind of products that we haven't released, and we plan to release this year. And the most important thing, of course, is the Forge framework and the ABT chain. And ABT wallet. So you will expect a lot of releases, product releases this year.
So who's someone in the industry today that you're following?
That's a nice question. So I follow Rich Hickey's YouTube videos a lot. I like that guy's style. I read high scalability blog made by Wagner, the CTO of AWS, a lot. And I do follow many people in the Erlang Elixir community, like the creator of Phoenix framework, and Jose, the creator of Elixir. So by following those people, I learned a lot about building high scalable softwares and highly extensible, secure software.